This is a shout out to Jez. I'm going to try my best. New Year's resolution. Smile. I've been told that I'm a bit grumpy and I need to smile a bit more. So there's my smile. Yeah, today we're doing a new boiler installation in Leeds. I'm taking out an old Ideal ISAR that's leaking. We're gonna install a new Viessmann boiler. So yeah, let's go and have a look. My name's Alan Hart, and today we're installing a new boiler, a new combi boiler in Leeds. We're taking out this old Ideal ISAR. I'll just show you this. If you could just comment below and tell me what you think of this boiler installation and also the filter, and if you think that this filter would be doing a good job for this heating system. I don't actually know what the fault is on this boiler, but if we have a look at how it's installed, look at that filter. Filter's not even on the right way around, so it's never going to work. If we have a look at all scotch marks and stuff before we start, so we know that's got naught to do with what we're doing. So we're going to remove this boiler. We've got a vertical flue, and then we're going to put a new Viessmann 100 boiler in here. So customers just informed me that the boiler had been leaking, and I think the leak had took the board out as well, because when I've tried to put the power onto the boiler, it won't work. I was going to try and see if I could heat the system up and then flush the system before we put a new boiler in, but unfortunately that's not going to happen on this. But let's go downstairs, we're going to have a look, see what Danny's doing. So we've just got Danny in here putting a test on gas before we start. Is it all alright, Danny? Have you started yet?
Not yet. Just need to turn it off.
So Danny's just the apprentice, but I'm teaching him, or I'm trying to get him experienced in doing everything correctly. So a full 4-minute test, doing as let by, doing our stabilization, and then doing the 2-minute test. So you've got a 4-minute test. Also, we're doing it with the cane analyzer and printing it out as well, so that we've got proof that it's all sound. Yeah, let's go and have a look. Just got Danny the apprentice now, taking front cover off. We've checked it all that it's safe electrically. We've isolated the electrics. We've turned the cold water mains off. We've tested the gas, and now we're going to remove the boiler. Still smiling, Jez. This is a combi swap. A lot of people would do this just in one day and then they'd just flush it out. We're doing this over 2 days, and we're doing a full power flush, spending a lot of time flushing this system. So yeah, I'll add a bit of that. I'll add a bit of the power flushing into this video as well. We're also going to install a nest on this as well. Yeah, let's go and have a look. We're installing the Viessmann vitodens 100 35 kilowatt on this job. He's struggling in there, Danny.
Just a bit. It's a bit tight.
Just getting nuts out on bottom up boiler now, and then we're going to lift the boiler off. We've took burner out on fan just to make it a bit lighter for lifting out, and we've also taken the flow out as well. We've got the boiler off the wall. Got the boiler off the wall. We're just taking the jig off now, and then we're going to put the new boiler on. Just got Danny lifting boiler on now. Was it heavy, that, Danny?
A little bit.
Just piping this up now. I'm putting some teas in here. It's a little bit hard to see. Just put a torch on. I'm just putting some teas in there, and I'm going to do a power flush on this system, on this job, And what I'll do is I'll isolate the boiler so that we're not putting any muck and sludge through the new boiler. But I can connect the Powerflush machine onto these connections. Somebody's had some fun before with blow lamp setting everywhere on fire in here. But we're just going to press that so none of this mess will be anything to do with us. I've just done a mains flush on this before we powered the boiler up to get as much muck out as we can. Normally we'd try and do this with the old boiler in place, but the old boiler wasn't working. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting some heat into the system, and then I've got some speed fit on here and some valves, and I've made some temporary connections, and then I'm going to do a power flush on this. So we've got some chemicals I'm going to put in. I've managed to put the filter there, which is a bit tight, but at least it's in and you can get to it. And then we just need to sort this wiring out as well. We're going to put a Nest, going to install a Nest thermostat on this. So I've got the Powerflush machine in here, which is the non-Strom Powerflush, and it's got built-in magnets on this one. I'll just check them before I start. Just clean them off. They've got a bit of muck on from last job. And then I'm going to put some X800 in this. Supposedly it's got a new formula, best ever performance. Clean system in 1 hour. Just a little tip with the X800 or any chemical cleaner really, just make sure that you get all that cleaner out afterwards, because it can cause issues with O-rings and bits, hoses and stuff in boilers and in system. So just make sure that you take a lot of time afterwards to flush that out. So I've just put my X800 into the system now, or into the Powerflush machine. I'll just let that flush through now. So leaving all the radiator valves open at the moment. So if we can see now, it's connected in to the system, and I've just turned the valve off on the filter, and that will mean that there's no flow going through the new boiler. This is the best we can do because of the situation that we've got. As I say, ideally you would flush with the old boiler in place if you could. We just don't want to put the chemicals and any sludge through this new boiler. It's been going round now for about 1 hour, and what we're doing, we're just letting all the chemicals circulate in the system. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reverse the pump, so that changes the flow and return round the other way, so it'll pump through the system the other way around. So now I'm just going to turn that back on now. So I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs with this, but I try and flush it both ways first for like a couple of hours with all the radiators open, let all the chemicals circulate in the system. And then what I'll do is I'll go around the system and I'll turn all the radiators off. So then I'll turn all the radiators off on the system apart from one radiator. And then what we want to do, we want to let the Powerflush machine flush through that one radiator. And we can do that backwards and forwards on that one radiator by changing the flow. And we can also check that with a thermal imaging camera as well. And then once we know that that radiator, normally I'd start with downstairs. Normally downstairs radiators are going to be worst ones. So then once we know that radiator's okay, then I'd go to the next radiator and I'd open the next radiator. Always remembering that we need to make sure the lock shields are fully open and the TRV heads have been removed and the pin is not stuck down, because obviously we don't want to be pumping and it's turned off. So as I say, you've flushed one radiator, you've opened the next radiator, and then you'd go back to the first radiator, turn the first radiator off, and then now you're flushing the second radiator. So then once you know that that's clean, you've gone back and forward again on that. I'd then go to the third radiator and then just do the same around the system. So the third radiator, open the third, close the second, etc., all the way around the system. Still smiling, Jez? While it's flushing, I've removed the TRV head off the radiator, and then I make sure that this is fully open. We can put a bit of silicone on there and just grease it up a bit. And then I've also made sure the lock shield on the other side is fully open. You just see all muck and sludge coming out now. So we'll dump that now until it's clear, and then we'll reverse that as well, and then we'll move on to next radiator as I've said before, and just continue round the system until you've got all the radiators as clean as you possibly can. You're never going to get all the muck out on a flush or on any flush. So if you take a radiator off afterwards, then you'd still get a little bit of muck at the bottom of the radiator. But this is the best way that we can clean it as good as we can, really, to try and make the boiler last as long as possible. Still smiling, Jez? I'm just dumping the water out now. So we've flushed all the radiators. You can see there's a little bit of chemical still left in there, but the water coming out is quite clear. We're just finishing it off now. Pipe work is just what it is, to be honest. I've had to try and get that filter in. Obviously the filter has to go like that. Last time, if you remember at the start of the video, it was facing the other way. And we've got this Viessmann 100 combi boiler. It's been fully flushed. So that's it, that's this Viessmann 100 install. We've also done, there's another video on Nest thermostat as well. I didn't want to put too much into this video, really. I didn't want to have the video to be too long. So that's this Viessmann 100 full flush, a Thernox TF1 Amiga filter, which I think is one of the best filters around. To be honest, 25-year guarantee with the filter, 10-year guarantee on the boiler. Yeah, and I'm sure customer will have very long life with the boiler. If you've got any comments, please add them below, and thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. Thank you, and Happy New Year, Jez, and everybody else as well. Thank you.